right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night. Real America's Voice, Dish Network Channel 219, Pluto TV Channel 470, 1029 on Samsung TV Plus. And, of course, as always, follow us on all the socials. Oh, don't forget Distro TV and the Roku channel as well. Social media, feel free to join us as well. We're on them all. Just look up LFS6B. That's LFS6B. And we will say hello in the chat at some point. It gets busy, though. It gets, especially on a Friday. A lot of people chat, especially in the Getter chat. The Getter chat always tears it up on a Friday night. So we'll be checking in with that at some point. As you can tell, Damon is still out sick, though he did call this afternoon and said, you know what, I'm starting to stir myself out of bed. So he might try and join us from his home studio if he's up to it. So we'll look out for that if he decides to join us. In the meantime, Slick Rick has got sports. Slick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good tonight on a Friday night with Delgado.
All right, very good. And let's see, any story? I mean, the draft was last night.
We got rodeo, we got NBA, we got NHL.
Your Sixers.
A lot going on. Sixers pulled it out last night. Embiid with 50 and a very brow frowning flagrant foul. Somebody's leg a little weird there.
There's a lot of complaints I saw flying around. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, they're trying to get him out, suspend him.
Anyhow, so we'll dive into that in the sports reports with Slick throughout the night. Also, David Zier, Big Z is here. How are you, David?
I'm great. Just got back from Manhattan a few hours ago.
Again?
Covered the Columbia University protest. Was a little bit encouraging because there was pro-Israeli people protesting about the 132 hostages, including the 5 Americans that are still being held and another 3 bodies of Americans that are being held and want their release, and they're peaceful. You know, the other side has been violent, and I have a lot of interviews for you from down there, and what a day.
Yeah.
What a day.
Definitely. And again, more footage. You're talking about the protest. That we see we've seen on the Ivy League campuses and out at USC. We talked about yesterday USC canceling their graduation. Think about all the time and effort that just about every student put in to graduate from USC and get ready for the next part of their life.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a culmination of things.
Well, now they have segregated graduation. We're going back in time.
Right. We're going backwards. But just to cancel it all together. So again, it's the few who ruin it for everybody else. Basically the liberals.
Yeah. And also, they've suspended classes for the remainder of the semester, which is only a couple of days, and they could take virtual finals. But that's not fair to all the kids that want to complete their education in person and pay all that money. And it's really shutting out the Jewish kids because they feel intimidated on campus. And, they're kowtowing the administration to these radical, left-wing, progressive, pro-Islamic, kids. And it's the watermelon. We'll get into that. It's green on the outside for Hamas, and it's red in the middle for progressive, left-wing Marxism on our campuses. But I have some good stuff for you. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and we make mention of USC, and why don't they just treat it like, like the campus at University of Texas at Austin, where they had security come in and just push these people out and get rid of them. You can hire. Last I heard, I don't know. This could be a crazy concept. USC, the people at USC, you might want to check this out because I think you might have. I don't know. They might have some experience running security. I've heard that they take care of the Rose Bowl. Their football team plays, every weekend during the fall. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they have some experience running security, how to keep bad people out, make sure the good people are safe. You think they might want to incorporate that for the graduation?
Instead they're caving, and it's terrible.
Yeah, it's sickening.
We can't let the crazies dictate the majority.
Right. But we are. We are.
Yeah, unfortunately we are. We see it with that. We see it with the trans. Again, you're talking about a very small number of people.
Tail wagging the dog once again.
Exactly. Yeah. And everybody's got to go, oh, my goodness, we can't offend one person.
Nope.
sorry, yes, we can. It's part of life. Things might make you upset. What happens? Maybe you don't go. Hey, I don't like that team. I don't like what's going on. I'm not going to go watch.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
you know what? I don't like this song.
With your wallet.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like this song. I don't like this artist. I'm going to turn the radio station.
Yeah, switch the channel.
Look, and nobody else has to never listen or watch that stuff ever again.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're offended. Who gives a crap if one person or a small group of people are offended?
Yeah, and I have an interview for you of a Jewish kid who was assaulted last night over at City College, right by Columbia.
Wow!
And he filed a complaint with the police. But the Jewish kids aren't assaulting pro-Palestinian protesters, which is pro-Hamas. And New York City has a long history, a tremendously long history, and I can go into 50 different scenarios where there's been Islamic attacks or terrorist attempts on New York City or successes. But one of them was on the Brooklyn Bridge in 1994 when the Lubavitch kids were on the bus to yeshiva, to their school, and a guy with a Glock and a shotgun pulled over the bus, fired at the bus, wounded 3, killed 1, 15-year-old student. And this stuff is incentivizing more violence, and hate crimes are up 8.5% in Manhattan this year, and New York City this year, so far year to date. So it's not right. It's not right.
And what's amazing too is and we've been around long enough. We were around during the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, right? And it's never felt like this though. Right?
No.
This strife. And I was looking at a chart last night. I forget who had it on, but I clicked on this chart and I'm like, well, that's interesting. You start to see and they were talking about the media, how the media and how often they mentioned racism. Like this is racist or racism or racist. Anything racist was plotted on this chart, and you see it, kind of hovering in a normal level, right? And then right around, 2009, 2010, you start seeing a sharp trend upwards.
Our innocence is gone.
Just and it totally spikes. And it just made me scratch my head. I'm like, who was president around that time?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Who was? I think we know.
Yeah. But, when I was 13, in 1983...
is this Fiddler on the Roof story?
Well, no, we didn't have any money. We had no money. But all I worried about was parachute pants and how many zippers my shirt had on it.
Right.
And these kids are growing up with, PTSD in the schools. They're subjected to all kinds of crap.
I just got that visual of a young Seer in parachute pants.
Yeah, and my Z Cavaricis. But
the Z's. I had every color you could
this
imagine.
Moving testimony of
Every
this girl. And was that Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Pennsylvania, yes.
She's 12 years old, and she's watching a beatdown from a trans man beating a 12-year-old kid
that was terrible.
Almost to death. Horrible.
It's just sick. It's just sick. And then you cap it off. I know you were in the city today covering the Trump trial and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was only at Columbia today.
Oh, you were only at Columbia.
Trials, no trial Monday.
Gotcha.
It's Melania's birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And then Tuesday it'll resume Zoom, and Ben Bergquam should be back on the ground. They're covering it.
I got an email from him. He's like,
landed in Romania. Yeah. So I'm trying to get some details on when that's going to stream or air from Romania. Make Europe Great Again. He's a guest speaker, I think on Sunday.
Was Melania from Romania?
Yeah.
She was, right? Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, no, she's from,
Italian.
I think she's from Czech Republic.
Czech Republic? Okay.
I forgot now.
Yeah. I always get those. I'm not really.
But she's very smart.
Bloc countries,
She speaks 6 languages.
Does she? Wow.
Languages. And she's an architect,
very
too.
Brilliant woman.
But they put Michelle on the cover of every magazine, whatever. And Melania is this beautiful woman.
They can't take her.
They don't even put her on anything.
Why. They can't take her because she is. She's too beautiful.
Yeah. Anyhow, so we'll cover a bunch of stuff, with these protests and stuff. But of course, the resident in chief, he was back in New York today. Did you see him? Did he go visit anybody who needed help? Did he go up to Harlem?
Oh, yeah, right.
No. Who was in New York?
The resident in chief,
He
Really?
was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even
Joe
know
Biden
that.
came in.
I'm out covering that.
Because only 7 people are affected. I mean, that wouldn't even realize it.
For a little Howard Stern interview, he decided to do.
Wow, I didn't know that. I was distracted with the Columbia thing.
I'm not kidding.
You have a clip?
Wow.
Yeah, I got a
my
clip.
man.
Of course.
I can't wait.
And as we know, Joe Biden, what do we know most about Joe Biden at this point? What do we make fun of him most besides the gaffes? But are the the outright lies, right? The things that he makes up.
True story.
Uncle Jizzy, or whatever his name is, got eaten by cannibals, and he used to be an 18-wheeler. He was just
smoke jumper
driver.
Yeah.
He smoke jumper. He jumped into fires. He he did it all.
By the way, Melania is Yugoslavian. She was born in Yugoslavia, Slovenia, I believe.
Oh,
so
Slovenia.
I'm sorry about that.
All right, no.
So anyhow, so he decided he's going to go on Howard Stern. He's got to reach the people now. I guess I don't know what demographic he's going, because young people don't listen to Howard Stern. Kind of middle-aged people don't really listen to Howard Stern anymore. I don't know what the demographic he's shooting for, because that would be the Cadillac driving segment of society.
Still making $100 million a year.
Yeah, that still listens to Howard Stern and thinks he's quote-unquote, woo, he's crazy, he's edgy, when he's anything but. He's usually sequestered in his own basement because he's afraid of germs. Here, listen to this story, and we've heard Joe talk about this before. How he was a civil rights activist, and he came out of the civil rights movement. He's added a new layer to this triple-decker whopper that he's created about him and the civil rights. Take a listen to it right here. I hit play and nothing's happening. Here we go.
And I looked at my mom. I said, honey, you haven't said anything. She said, Joey, remember, true story. She said, remember when they were desegregating Linfield, a neighborhood? There was, 70 homes built at one suburbia. And I told you, and there was a black family moving in, and there was people who were down there protesting. I told you not to go down there, and you went down. Remember that? And you got arrested by standing on the porch with a black family.
You got a record.
Right. And they brought you back, the police. And I said, yeah, Mom, I remember that.
Liar. 7 years old? What did you say? He was 7 years old and he got arrested for going down the block, and then came back with a black family
while he was driving a semi at 8 years old.
Right, like he collected the black family and brought them to his house. Like, look what I just got.
Yeah,
it's like, you can't make up how insanely this guy. I cannot
believe anything that comes out of his mouth.
He took home Corn Pop too, didn't he?
Yeah, he took on Corn Pop.
So. What the hell happened is Howard Stern.
Howard Stern.
He's so
once the pandemic hit, he went into psycho mode. Like he wouldn't talk to anybody face to face.
Like I never agreed with him politically, but he used to be funny.
He used to be funny.
I don't think he's funny at all.
He hasn't been funny in well over a decade.
And I don't think Robin Quivers is funny at all either.
She's just a laugher. She's a laugh track.
She's a laugher?
Yeah,
okay.
she is.
So
cheerleader.
So there's Joe Biden adding to his collection of civil rights lies about how he was a civil rights activist. I guess he started at 7 years old, and his mom had I thought his mom was reminding him. He remembered. Even when his mom was like, hey, Joey, do you remember that? Of course I do, Mom.
Come on, Mom.
Does he remember giving the sign of the cross during an abortion speech?
I don't know. I don't think he remembers giving the high sign to the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Take him out back of the woodshed.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do some sports. We'll check in with David Zier on some news and more with you right there, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Stay there. Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Friday night. If you're just joining us, Damon is still out, though. He may, if he's able to pull himself together, he may be joining us at some point throughout the show, so we look forward to that if it happens. If not, then he'll take the weekend, recover, and hopefully he'll be raring to go come Monday. In the meantime, David Zier is here. Slick Rick has got sports. I was just distracted for a second because we just played that clip of Joe Biden on Howard Stern. And on Howard Stern, he also said, by the way, that, David, you'll be interested in this, that he's willing to debate Donald Trump. Yes. He says he's gonna take him on
anytime.
Well, listen, they'll pump him up with 8 cans of Celsius and 2 shots of vitamin B complex,
3 pounds of
and
Prevagen.
maybe a little baggie from the locker room in the White House, and he'll be able to hold his own for an hour, like he did in the previous debates in 2020. He wasn't all there back then, but, they prop him up. They give him softball questions, and he can get through it. And then it'll be like, oh, Biden held his own against Trump. Right. And that's what I fear.
And they've already done the pre-bunking of it, too. With the debates, is saying that, and the Biden administration says it, and the deep state media say it. They all say the same thing. Well, we don't know if we should do debates. I mean, we have to deal with Donald Trump lying all the time about everything.
And he can't be civil.
Right.
He won't be civil.
So they're already setting the table that, anything that he says is going to be a lie. You need to listen to Joe Biden because Joe Biden tells the truth, as you can tell.
But the truth.
Yeah, he's been a civil rights activist since he ran down the block and grabbed that black family and brought them home.
Age of 7.
And got arrested for it at 7 because he was a civil rights activist. And all,
Sure.
And he was out there, fighting a fight when nobody else was fighting a fight there, Slick.
Right.
He was out there marching.
Uncle Joe.
Yeah, even though he was basically a card-carrying member of the KKK, allegedly, because, all of his friends loved segregation. I've heard his speeches in the 70s talking about he didn't want to raise his kids in a racial jungle. Those are his words, not mine. Yep. I'm just recalling what he's talked about throughout the years.
The MSM is completely corrupt. Look at Donna Brazile getting the questions from the CNN town hall in advance. To help the Democrats. Talk about election interference. They're talking about Trump.
I know.
For getting an NDA signed, as election interference.
Yeah.
When the MSM does it every single day for the past 7 years.
Yeah. And then, of course, speaking of Joe Biden, who really hates seeing all those Donald Trump signs and those F Joe Biden signs and
the
those
kid with the
kids,
finger.
Yeah, the little kids flipping them off as he's driving by.
I love that kid.
He just hates it because he didn't get a chance to sniff that kid.
Yeah.
Here he is yesterday, 2 gaffes in 30 seconds. It's an amazing feat, but only Joe Biden can pull it off. The only way Joe knows how to do it. Cut number 1. Check this out.
And increase economic growth. Folks, imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause.
He's supposed to pause. I read pause. Now his stop post stood up. Looks like they're also reading the prompter. How many times do we clap?
Man, oh, pause.
Well, check it out. Here we go.
Well, thank you.
Second one coming.
We're all ready. We're ready to move forward, not back. Are you ready to choose unity over division, dignity over hate, truth over lies? Are you ready to choose freedom over democracy?
Freedom over democracy, yes.
Wait a minute.
We can
And
do
they
this.
cheer.
Yes, of course they
Take
cheer.
my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about our future in my entire career. Just have to remember who we are. And I mean
We
this.
remember who
Think
you
about
are.
it. We are the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing when we do it.
Except the president that's incapacitated.
Right.
They weren't a bunch of construction workers, and that was not an organic response from the audience.
Especially when he says 4 more years. Pause.
I was waiting for the audience to say 4 more years. Pause. 4 more. I think they were almost saying that. They stopped.
Just amazing. So
a millisecond.
Teleprompter wins again. Joe goes down in flames. But hey, that's what we've come to expect from the 7-year-old civil rights activist,
leader, truck driver,
baseball player, first in his class, 3 scholarships, 3 degrees. He's basically he is the perfect
7-Eleven frequenter.
He's the perfect man of America.
He is.
That's what happens to you when you think so little of yourself.
Railroad,
inside.
bridge commuting.
Oh, that's right. He crossed. That was another one he brought up again.
Across the Indian Ocean.
How often? Every day? How he commuted by train, going
bicycle.
over that bridge, going over the Key Bridge by train. He brought it up again in another clip.
Well,
I think it was in the same speech too. Just amazing.
Remarkable.
I can't believe we got to deal with this 6 more months. We got to get him out.
He's not. He's not.
He's not running.
I don't think he's running.
They are not putting that up there.
I don't think so.
No way. No way.
I think that's why he agreed to do the debates, because he knows he's not going to have to do them.
He's toast. Right?
Because debates happen September through October.
Yeah.
So he can say, I'm ready to debate him now. And then, when he steps aside and hands his electors over to whoever they designate as their new Democratic nominee, then it'll be like, well, I guess I was going to debate him, and I would have taken him to the woodshed if I only knew what a woodshed looked like.
What if they keep him in, replace Kamala Harris with somebody like Michelle or Gavin.
Like a pulse.
Well,
and then
that's already been talked about.
He wins the election because they might steal it.
Right.
And then in January, they invoke the 25th Amendment.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you got...
Michelle Obama.
Right.
Yeah.
Believe me, these scenarios.
Right. That's the softest sell, too.
If you are hearing that scenario for the first time, you haven't been paying attention. They've been talking about that for a long time.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, it's
I'm talking about them out there.
How?
I think our audience knows.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way. I don't know what's going on in this country. So.
We know what's going on.
You do know what's going on in this country.
We do know what's going on, and it's
nuts.
It's sad. And Slick, you know what? I think we're going to do sports in the next segment. Sure. Because I want to finish this point with David. We know what's going on. We've seen it. We're experiencing it.
Yeah.
You know what's happening. The people, we are not in charge of our government, and we haven't been for the last couple decades.
It accelerated under Obama.
Yes.
Fundamental transformation of our country, which he said was going to happen.
Yep.
It got worse when Trump won in 2016. And now it's on turbo blast.
Yeah, because now they see, this guy has got everybody. It almost seems like he's got
every demographic.
Every demographic is now starting to switch over to Trump. Yeah, and they know they can't cheat on that kind of level.
You know, it was funny down on the construction site yesterday morning. It was like 4 a.m, and people are going to work, and like, who's coming and who's here, and it was only the snide Wall Street hedge fund liberal guys with their LL Bean whatever going on, and they were like they would make frowns because they think they're just as good as Donald Trump. They think they're smarter. They think they're better.
Sure.
And it was smug. Meanwhile, these construction workers they're all struggling and things are beeping away. And they got like these arrogant guys walking through Manhattan. So I know the dynamic, the hate.
Yeah. From the DC elite too. Because keep in mind, once there's a change like a Trump coming in, all these people, they know they're losing their jobs.
Oh yeah.
They know they're losing their jobs.
Oh yeah.
They know they're losing their jobs. Yeah. They're fighting for their jobs because their jobs give them power.
Yeah.
And that's what this struggle, I think, really is with the D.C. swamp is they know if he comes in and starts shrinking government, they all lose.
And Rick Santelli had that great analysis yesterday or the other day. The numbers do not look good.
No, definitely not. And there are more numbers coming out about changes in polling. We'll have David Zier take a look at some of that. Like I said, we're going to hold off our first sports segment to the top of this next break. In the meantime, all we need you to do is hang tight. Stay with us. Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Friday. live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Friday night. Welcome to the weekend. If it's your weekend already, well, nice. Let it rock. Let it ride. Let it ride. Slick Rick is here. He's got sports. David Zier is here. We're going to do some, he's got some great interviews. We're going to hit on one of them coming up in just a little bit. We're also going to talk about the changes that we keep seeing in the polling. And you know, I've always been suspect of polling, but I do want to see what David Zier has extrapolated from what he's seen, because I'm seeing some interesting stuff and it's things that you never really see before. So we'll dive into that after sports. Let's do sports now with Slick Rick, brought to you by Mike Lindell's MyPillow, mypillow.com. Go there, use our code LFS6B at checkout. Make sure you take advantage of the savings. Send us the receipt, get a free T-shirt, and enter yourself. You got a few more days to get in to get one of those $100 gift cards right here from Mike Lindell's MyPillow.com and LFS6B. Slick, what do you got?
All right, well, it's Friday night. We got to go to the rodeo dodo, and here we go. We get the rodeos on Friday night, and we recap them on Monday. We love the rodeo, of course. It's opened up last night. The Clovis Rodeo in action tonight. Clovis, California, the Clovis Rodeo Arena. They got a theme here, this Clovis. Here we go. Bareback riding leader, Donnie Profit, 85 points on Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics Mustard. I like it. I kind of match my jacket. Mustard. I like that. Steer Wrestling, third round. Colt Honey, 5.7 seconds. Team Roping, Riley Minor and Brady Minor picking up the third round with a nice 7.4 seconds. Good time there. Saddle Bronc, we got a tie. Damian Brennan on Birch. That sound like the Blues. Rodeos, Shotgun Blues. And Carson Mabane on Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics. Pendleton's Roundups. Marquee, 84.5 points. What a mouthful. Tied down Roping, third round. Bruce Dera, 10.1, and we have Barrel Racing second round. Lonnie Yates 16.92. That's a sharp time right there. Bull riding right now we have Chase Dougherty 88.5 points on Bill Pro Rodeos. Big Salty, and total payout on this rodeo, nice number, 397,484 buckaroos. So we'll have a full recap on that rodeo come Monday night. Some sad news in the NFL earlier today. Ex-Giants lineman Corey Cunningham dead at 28.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
18 months after final NFL game. So he was out of the league about a year and a half. But Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart reporting, former New York Giants offensive lineman Corey Cunningham was found dead in his home on Thursday. He was only 28. The Giants released a statement saying, "We are saddened to hear of the passing of Corey Cunningham. He was a vital part of the spirit and camaraderie of the locker room. Our thoughts are with Corey's family, friends, and teammates," CBS News reported. The Clifton Police Department said that no foul play is expected at this time. No cause of death has yet been reported. Cunningham signed with the Arizona Cardinals in 2019 after the team picked him as a seventh-round pick. He formerly played with the University of Cincinnati. Good team. After missing a portion of his Cardinals rookie season due to a foot injury, he was traded to the New England Patriots, where he played a few seasons before being signed by the Giants in 2021. He played 12 games over the next 2 years before being cut from the team in 2022. Cunningham played in 31 career games with 6 starts. Several teammates obviously took to social media with their shock and sorrow over the loss. Safety Jason Pinnock commented on the loss on Instagram, ESPN, saying, "This one hurt. Regardless of what was going on through you, wore the biggest smile. You was the first person to come help me move when I was getting settled at New York, middle of camp, and friending me to be on the team." This is all I'm quoting this. "You was the first at my house ready. Take care of yourselves and call your friends. I love you, brother," he wrote. So, sad news about this young man, Cunningham.
And from what Fran had found, he I guess came across a few articles where they discussed it could be self-inflicted.
Well, and then what you have to think about is CTE. It's a very serious situation in the NFL. A lot of these guys, suffer from these concussions, and the encephalopathy. And that's really, you got to wonder sometime what goes on. And, he may have been despondent. 28, he probably still should be in the league as a lineman. Most of these linemen, if they stay healthy, are into their 30s. Didn't sound, he had one injury, but he came back from. And, it's a big drop coming off that high of the stadium and the fans and the crowd.
And the money.
and the money too, sure, and then just becoming an everyday big guy in the neighborhood. So
one of us.
Yeah, one of us, exactly. So no, just a very sad story. And I'll get to a little bit later, but over 4,000 female athletes demand NCAA sports protects women. So they're really starting to come out. I'm starting to see a big finally. I mean, why did it take 2 years?
Yeah.
An assemblage of people standing up and saying, no, we're not going to compete in the track and field. Nope, we're not going to be swimming. And you know what? We're coming out in droves now to get behind Riley Gaines. And believe it or not, Martina Navratilova, of all people, she's been very outspoken too.
Well, she's been outspoken from the start.
Yeah, she has. She has. And she was controversial just about her whole career. Hell of a tennis player, I'll tell you that. Bet my money on her. And that's a wrap in sports for this segment, Rick. I'll get to those stories next round.
All right, sounds good. Slick Rick Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell's MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B at checkout and take advantage of the savings. David Zier's got some news. David, what do you want to hit first? You want to dive into some of this polling stuff?
Yeah, let's do the polls because I got some good stuff for you.
All right, let's go.
Want me to start?
Start it off. You're the poll guy.
Okay, well.
Do the dance.
We got to take polls with a grain of salt, but I followed them very closely for a number of years, and some are pretty accurate. And in the midterms, and a lot were accurate, within 2-3 points. Pennsylvania in the midterms, very accurate with Shapiro and, winning the governor's race, and even Fetterman. So I know there's some fraud in Pennsylvania. I know 2020 was probably stolen. Right. I believe that in my heart. But 2022, I don't think there was as much fraud in Pennsylvania. I think there were only a few counties in question. But so the average of polling, if you look at where Trump is right now, right? So as of today, okay, there are key polls. The Bloomberg Morning Consult poll has Trump up in every one of the battleground states, 6 out of 7, except Michigan, where Biden's only +2. But Trump has at least a 6, 7, and 10-point lead in 3 states, including Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, respectively. 10 points in North Carolina. So if you go back in time, let's go in the hot tub time machine.
Oh, okay. With
all
Damon?
right, yeah. So
tell us, hubby.
Listen to this. This is really fascinating because if you look at the polling, so it's May, right? It's almost May. And Trump is ahead in these states way more than he was in 2016 and 2020. If you look at the average of polls at this time, actually in November 2nd, which is only, 4 months away, 5 months away, right?
Yep.
I'm doing the math in my head, right?
Yeah,
so it's 5 months away. But if Trump was to hold those averages over the next 5 months or increase those leads or even only lose a little bit, listen to this. November 2nd in Pennsylvania, Biden was ahead 3.7%. Trump is ahead in Pennsylvania in an average of all the Real Clear Politics polls as a conglomerate. He's also ahead if you take Wisconsin, which he's trailing now by like 0.6. Biden was up 9.2%. So do you really think that Trump is going to lose 9% by November in popularity? Unless something drastic happens, he's not.
Right.
So there's no way he's going to lose this election, at least legally. And just if you go into other states like Nevada, Biden was ahead 5 points. Trump is ahead right now in Nevada by 8 points. So he was down in Nevada by 5 points in November 2nd of 2020. And then just 1 or 2 more important states for you here. Oh my God, there's so many polls. I got all the numbers from all the states. But the point is that Trump is doing much better than he was in 2020. Now I'm trying to get the stats for where he was polling in May of 2020. But again, probably won't have a 10-point shift.
Right.
And he may have increased his lead because Dems may be in turmoil, especially with this pro-Hamas stuff.
And I
don't think Trump can lose.
And we don't know what the economy is going to look like between now and the end of the summer and the
what wars we'll be in.
Right. And the election itself. Now, according to this that I'm seeing here, do you know what 538 polling is?
Sure.
New 538 polling average for 7 swing states. Let's see. Poly Markets betting gives Republicans a 71% chance of winning the Senate.
Yeah, there's 7 key races in the Senate that
So you got a lot of good.
The House is iffy.
Yeah, if you're into the polling stuff, StackStrat, they have a model up on X, and they've got right now they've got an electoral college forecast of 292, 246 Trump over Biden.
But the 538 polling takes averages of the YouGov poll, Quinnipiac University, Monmouth, which is a pretty good poll, Gallup polling, Kaplan Strategies, Suffolk University out of Massachusetts, American Research Group, University of North Florida, Marist, Morning Consult. So they extrapolate from a lot of polls, and just like Real Clear Politics, it's somewhat of an accurate depiction.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, let's face it, it's a little early. I still think it's a little early, but I know this stuff is important to a lot of people that analyze this stuff.
Well, if Trump keeps that lead from now into November 2nd, he didn't lose the election.
Right. And from what I understand, I saw a headline. Let me see if I can find it real quick. That Arizona Republicans have upped their registration. Monster voter registration numbers in Arizona. Republicans have doubled their lead when it comes to registering. So
same in Pennsylvania.
So
there's more Republicans than Dems.
I think we're starting to see some of this stuff pay off that they've been doing. So let's hope for the best, and let's hope it keeps moving in that direction. And you got to do your part out there at home. You see somebody, you know somebody, talk to them, make sure. Not only make sure you spread the good word, but make sure they vote.
Vote with your checkbook is all. That's my theme.
Yeah.
Vote with your checkbook. It's just real simple, and it's hitting with people. They're resonating all across the board. Friends of mine.
Yeah.
Get the checkbook out. Vote with that this year.
Yeah.
End of story.
And you know what? Slick was telling us a story just before we came on. You had somebody dropping you off, right?
Yes. Yeah, young man, Enterprise Rentals was speaking to him, young African-American man, and we were talking about it, and he's saying, you know what? He's for Trump now. He sees what's going on with Biden and his camp. He knows Obama's running things behind the scenes. He knows they're getting nothing. He's falling behind on his investments, his money, and he's in the Trump camp now. He knows.
Yeah, it's
he knows.
The economy,
he told me his friends that all feel the same way. And he was talking about how Trump used to be very famous back, and he's a younger guy. He used to rap about him and talk about him. I says, well, he still is, and he is still definitely something worth rapping about. So start making some songs about him.
It's why George Herbert Walker Bush lost. And it's why Bill Clinton won. It's the economy, stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah. We were in a deep recession from 87 to 95.
Yep. Again, coming on the heels of a Democrat.
Yeah. And what's amazing is, as Slick tells us from that story, it has nothing to do about the color of your skin.
No,
kids.
not at all. No.
It's the economy.
Yep.
Are you doing better today than you were doing 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
You know what the answer is.
Gas up your car this weekend. Tell me how you feel about that when you're gassing up your car.
So they were talking there was 17%, 18% in inflation and interest rates and stuff under Jimmy Carter. But you compare what's going on today combined with the debt, it's similar. It's not 7% loans. It's really in the teens.
Yeah, it's a lot worse. And I think, and Santelli pointed it out last night, in that clip, saying some of these numbers don't look right. So
some of them.
So, the fix is in. We can't believe the government anyway. So why wouldn't they lie about numbers?
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do some more. We got some David Zier interviews. We'll do one of those coming up next right here live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Friday night.
Got another thing coming.